Welcome back, Reds. You're watching Reds Fusion LFC, your #1 spot for all the latest Liverpool transfer buzz. Today, we've got huge news, straight from Sky Sports and Fabrizio Romano, about a possible blockbuster move involving Alexander Isak that could break Liverpool's 10-year transfer rule. Plus, massive profit updates you won't believe. So smash that like button, drop your thoughts in the comments, and share this with every true Red you know. Let's dive in. Alexander Isak could end Liverpool's 10-year transfer rule after Eddie Howe hint Liverpool wanting to sign Newcastle United striker Alexander Isak goes against a transfer policy that the club has stuck to for the last 10 years. Liverpool's desire to sign Newcastle United striker Alexander Isak could mark the end of a decade-long reluctance to sign a proven Premier League centre-forward. The Reds have avoided purchasing established strikers from the English top flight since acquiring Christian Benteke from Aston Villa in 2015. Newcastle United rejected Liverpool's $148 million bid for Isac, who netted 23 league goals last season. The forward is training separately from Newcastle's first team and has reportedly refused to play for the club again, despite Newcastle's insistence that he is not for sale. It's been an eventful summer for Liverpool already, with expensive signings like Florian Wirtz and Hugo Ekitike contrasting sharply with last year. However, the Liverpool is still striving to bring in more talent, and a deal for Isac would be a first of its kind for the Reds in 10 years. In 2015, Liverpool spent $51 to sign Benteke from Villa, a team which he had scored 49 goals in 101 matches for. Despite previously being prolific in the top flight, he was sold to Crystal Palace, just a year later, having scored 10 in 42 appearances. Since then, the club has avoided repeating the same mistake. Benteke joined in the same summer as Roberto Firmino, who became a crucial component in Liverpool's attack that would eventually guide the Reds to Premier League and Champions League success. Then-manager Brendan Rodgers also brought in Danny Ings from newly relegated Burnley shortly before completing a move for Benteke. The next year saw Liverpool recruit Sadio Mane from Southampton, though the Senegalese star wasn't a traditional striker, frequently operating out wide in Jurgen Klopp's system. A similar case could be argued for versatile attacker Diogo Jota's arrival from Wolves in 2020. When it became necessary to sign another centre-forward in 2022, the Reds chose Darwin Núñez from Benfica instead of a Premier League striker. Meanwhile, Dominic Solanke joining Liverpool from Chelsea through a tribunal in 2017 is not comparable to Benteke's marquee transfer or Isak's potential move to Anfield. Isac won't feature in Newcastle's season opener against Aston Villa on Saturday. Newcastle boss Howe has acknowledged the impact the transfer speculation has had on his squad and hinted that his side has adapted to being without Isac. "I don't think it's been healthy for us," Howe said, as reported by the Mirror. "I don't deny that's been a big challenge. Alex, for me, is one of the best strikers in the world, if not the best. To miss him from your squad leaves a huge gap. I think morale was certainly affected early on during preseason. There was nothing I could do to affect that. It was always going to be there." Alexander Isak will get his dream move to Liverpool. Top source updates today. Alexander Isak is increasingly likely to land his dream move to Liverpool as he effectively remains on strike at Newcastle United. Speaking on the latest edition of Football Insider's Inside Track podcast, senior correspondent Pete O'Rourke revealed what sources have said about the 25-year-old's future as he continues to push for a move away from St. James's Park. Newcastle are keen to move on from the toxic situation and may be forced to accept an offer before the window closes to allow all parties to focus on the season. This comes after Football Insider revealed on 3rd of August that Newcastle want to resolve Isak's future quickly to put an end to the constant speculation. The Sweden international has made clear his desire to leave and will refuse to play or train with Eddie Howe's squad if he does not get his desired move. However, former Man United chief scout Mick Brown warned Isac could be in breach of contract if he refuses to play, further complicating the situation. Liverpool plot fresh Isac move as Newcastle open to selling. Brown told Football Insider on 15th of August that Liverpool are preparing a fresh offer for Isac worth around $120 million after seeing their previous move turned down. Should the Reds be unable to reach an agreement, the Sweden international will be in a very sticky situation with the Premier League season set to begin. O'Rourke explained that while the Magpies remain reluctant to let the striker leave, there is a growing feeling that it may be the best resolution to this saga. Isac is going everything possible to force a move away from Newcastle, he told Football Insider. The situation is becoming more and more toxic, and that can't be good for anybody involved. Obviously, Isac won't be involved for the opening weekend of the Premier League season, and Eddie Howe admitted he has moved out of his house in Newcastle. He's made his stance pretty clear. He wants to move. It depends on whether Liverpool can agree a fee with Newcastle, otherwise Isac will find himself in a very sticky situation if no deal is agreed. But it's not a good situation for anybody, so they feel the best situation is for Newcastle to reluctantly sell him on and reinvest in the squad. Isac will get his dream move to Liverpool, and that will be best for everybody involved to move on. Fabrizio Romano, Liverpool, deal on to sign superstar after Leone. Liverpool are still aiming to sign Crystal Palace captain Marc Guehi after completing a deal for Giovanni Leone, GivMe Sport senior reporter Fabrizio Romano has revealed. The fee, reigning Premier League champions agreed a $26 million deal to sign the 18-year-old Italian defender on Wednesday, with an official announcement expected by the end of the week following medical tests. They are now likely to shift their focus to completing a deal for Guehi, who has less than 12 months remaining on his contract at Selhurst Park and has already agreed personal terms over his move to Liverpool. Negotiations are ongoing with Palace over a fee worth around $35 million, which would take Liverpool's summer spending past the $300 million mark. The Reds have invested heavily in 5 new arrivals this summer, including a club record $116 million on former Bayer Leverkusen midfielder Florian Wirtz. Liverpool, aiming to sign Marc Guehi. Romano, speaking on his YouTube channel, revealed that Liverpool are still looking to sign Guehi before the deadline, with the deal absolutely on for the England international. Don't forget, I will tell you again that Liverpool also want to sign Marc Guehi, so that remains another focus for this crazy transfer window Liverpool are having. The deal is absolutely done for Leone, the deal is absolutely on for Marc Guehi. So let's follow the situation. Guehi was heavily linked with a Palace exit in the past 2 transfer windows and was targeted by both Newcastle and Tottenham. The Eagles rebuffed offers from both of their Premier League rivals, but now appear inclined to lose the superstar centre-back either for a reduced fee this summer or on a free transfer after the season. Guehi, who joined Palace from Chelsea in the summer of 2021, has developed into one of the best centre-backs in the Premier League during his time at Selhurst Park. He has made 156 appearances for the Eagles to date and helped them win the FA Cup, and Community Shield. Liverpool are targeting Guehi as a potential long-term replacement for Ibrahima Konate, who has entered the final year of his contract at Anfield and is believed to have suitors at Real Madrid. Liverpool set for enormous profit as Bournemouth close in on $25 million signing ahead of Premier League clash. Liverpool have sold a fair few members of their first-team squad this summer, with Arne Slot undergoing a complete overhaul of his team. Fatih. Reds have spent well over $200 million on new arrivals, with players such as Luis Diaz exiting for a fee worth around $65.5 million. Others, such as Jarell Quansah and Koeman Kelleher, have also been sold on for impressive fees, with the Reds generating plenty of money to supplement their summer of spending. And seeing as though there's still over 2 weeks left in the transfer window, there's still plenty more time for both arrivals and exits to occur. Ben Doak is close to joining Bournemouth for 25 million nano, one of the main areas of slots. First-team squad that he's changed is his attack. As mentioned, Diaz is one of the biggest names to have been sold, but others, such as Darwin Núñez, have also been let go. And now, as per a report from The Guardian, it seems like the Reds are set to bank an enormous profit on Ben Doak. The attacker had a fine season for Middlesbrough last season, with bids even coming in for the Scotsman during the January transfer window. However, in a new report from The Guardian, Bournemouth are now closing in on finalizing the transfer of the former Celtic man. The report outlines that the Reds are set to receive a huge profit for the attacker, as they only paid $600,000 for him when he signed, with Bournemouth willing to spend around $25 million on the attacker. Liverpool are masters of selling their players. One of the main takeaways from the summer transfer window for Liverpool is the fact that they're brilliant at getting the absolute maximum amount of money possible for their players. To use Diaz as an example again, the Reds managed to get a fee worth around $65.5 million for the attacker, even though he only had 2 years left on his deal. Indeed, his fine form from the 2024-25 season will have no doubt helped boost his value. But, as Danny Murphy said, it was a tremendous fee for Liverpool. Other sales, such as Quansah, have also been impressive from the Reds, as they even managed to add a buyback clause into the deal in case he reaches the heights that everyone expects him to. As mentioned, Doak did have a good campaign for Michael Carrick's men last season, but the fact that Andoni Iraola's men are willing to fork out around $25 million for his services is nothing short of spectacular. However, even though Bournemouth are close to sealing a deal, journalist Lewis Steele has also outlined that Porto are also at the table should his move to the Cherries fall through. And if the Cherries are as serious as they're reported to be about signing Doak, Friday evening's game between the clubs will be a good chance for Doak to see how he'd fit into their starting XI. Ben Doak closes in on Premier League transfer as Liverpool to net huge profit. Ben Doak looks to be on the verge of leaving Liverpool, with the Reds' busy summer continuing after 7 players already moved on from Anfield. Ben Doak looks as though he could be the next player to leave Liverpool this summer, with the winger reportedly on the verge of joining Bournemouth. It has already been a busy summer for the Reds, with nearly $400 million spent on new signings so far and more business to come, starting with Giovanni Leone's arrival from Parma. Mark Guehi and Alexander Isak continue to be heavily linked with a move to Anfield, while Arne Slot's revolution has also seen 7 permanent departures, including Luis Diaz, Darwin Núñez, and Trent Alexander-Arnold, all of whom have been first-team regulars in recent years. More departures are expected before the window closes, on September 1st with Kostas Tsimikas and Harvey Elliott among those touted to move on. Doak could be the next to head elsewhere, though, with The Guardian claiming that Bournemouth is closing in on a deal to sign him for $34 million, 25 millers. That would represent a huge profit for Liverpool, who paid just $814,000, $600,000 to Celtic, when Doak made the switch from Glasgow in 2022. The 19-year-old has been withdrawn from the Reds squad for Friday's opening Premier League game, coincidentally against Bournemouth, as a result. The move comes as Bournemouth looks set to offload Dango Ouattara to Brentford for up to 58 millers, a deal which could also have implications for Isak's future at Newcastle, given the Magpies are being linked with Yoane Wissa. Doak's future has been up in the air this summer, with the teenager having been linked with a number of Premier League clubs. The winger showed a lot of promise upon his arrival at Anfield from Celtic, and, under Jurgen Klopp, he looked to be on the path to become a long-term heir to Mohamed Salah on the right at one stage. Injuries, though, have hindered his development, with Doak having missed much of the second half of last season while on loan at Championship club Middlesbrough. He has spent the summer with Liverpool's first team and scored in a pre-season friendly. Against Athletic Club earlier this month, Doak was also named on the bench for the Community Shield against Crystal Palace at Wembley.